Good afternoon. Good afternoon. This is Tuesday, the 17th of February in the year 2026. This is Point of View with Ms. Shirley Polk. I am so happy that you are here with me today. It is a great pleasure to come to you, and I'm thanking God because He has blessed me to be here to share with you again. One more time, and I am grateful for that opportunity. Dear God, as I sit before you to speak, I pray to you that my soul you will keep. And if I should die before I finish, I pray to you, dear God, in the name of Jesus, that any outstanding sins will be forgiven. Amen. Isn't it a wonderful day? And I know I'm repeating this. Oh, yes, but I am grateful because of what God is doing for me, what He's doing for you, what He's doing for all of us. It's just a privilege and it is a blessing. And I am grateful to Him today. Have you ever felt slighted by life? Then what can be done about it? Have you ever felt slighted by life? Then what can be done about it? And I want to answer that for you today the best that I can. And I have some sources here. I have Psychology Today, which is one of my favorites. I have yahoo.com. And then I have my Bing.com that is going to help us understand and know that there are things we can do. There are things that we can do. Oh, yes. And I am thankful because these sources are out here so that we can have an opportunity to be able to share and learn from these. Oh, yes. So we can share and learn from these. I am just happy. And I am sharing here because I want to share this, and I'm going to go right ahead into the lesson. Okay. Thank you, God. There we go. Okay. Now, because of who God is, I give Him glory, I give Him honor, and I give Him praise. Yes, I do. Now, have you ever felt slighted in life or by life? If you have, if you're feeling it now, what will you do about it? What can we do about it? I think all of us have felt slighted in life, and we didn't really phrase it as being slighted in life. Sometimes people say, "I've been cheated in life. Life is not fair. Other people get this and that and the other. They're doing this and that, and I live good and try to live right, and I don't have near what they have, and they're not trying to live any kind of way and do good for anybody." Have you ever said that? Have you ever heard someone else say that? So I am going to go to my Bing.com. If you've ever felt slighted by life, here are some strategies to cope with such feelings. The first one is self-reflection. Self-reflection. Take time to understand what exactly happened and how it made you feel. Write down the situation and your reactions to it. This helps us so much, doesn't it? It helps so much. The next is practice gratitude. We talk about this quite often. Practicing gratitude, being grateful, being thankful. I love it. Regularly acknowledge and appreciate the good things in your life, which can help shift your focus from perceived slights to positive experiences. Practice gratitude. Think about what you have now, where you are now. Uh, Weigh the situation and pull the good, positive out of it. And I do believe that if you really truly do that, you will find more positive than negative. I really believe it. I really believe it. You're alive. You have your reasonable portion of health and strength. There are some people that don't have half or sometimes one fourth of what you have, whatever it is, and however it's measured. There's always someone who is not as fortunate as you. And if you feel that you are the person that I'm talking about that's not as fortunate as, then practice gratitude. Think about it. Be grateful for what you have. Then challenge negative thoughts. You have to challenge those negative thoughts. Then you have to do some self reflection. Look back, think about your situation, your life, and everything. Self reflection, practice gratitude, be thankful, and challenge negative thoughts. You have to challenge these negative thoughts. Let me tell you something. Negative thoughts come to my mind each and every day, and I say, where did that come from? But you know what I've learned to do? I learned a lesson for when I, from the angel, it was Michael, I believe, that was uh, feuding with Satan over Moses' body. I believe it was Michael. And he didn't fuss at him, cuss at him, or talk about him negatively. You know what he said to him? Satan, the Lord rebuke thee. That was it. And I have learned to say that because we think, where did that come from? I wasn't thinking about anything on that wise. And these thoughts come to our minds. So, challenge negative thoughts. Thank you so much for being here with me. Please share this webcast, okay? We're on YouTube too, so just in case something happens on Facebook, then you can go to YouTube, okay? And then later on, I upload to LinkedIn. All right. So challenge negative thoughts. When you feel slighted, try to challenge your negative thoughts and remind yourself that these feelings are not valid. You hear that? Remind yourself that these feelings are not valid. Then you seek support. We always stress seeking support. Sometimes things overwhelm us and we need some help. We need someone who can guide us and tell us and help us to think these things, challenge the negative thoughts and all of that. Sometimes we need someone to help us. Okay, so seek support. Talk to friends or professionals who can provide guidance and support in navigating these feelings. The next one is embrace intentional living. Embrace intentional living. Live with purpose and intention, recognizing what truly matters to you and aligning your actions with your values. Have you heard of people saying about someone else, or someone might say it about themselves? I'm just aimlessly wandering through this world haphazardly. I don't know what to do. I don't know what's going to happen. I just go with the flow. Embrace intentional living. And I repeat this, live with purpose and intention. Have some kind of goal. It doesn't have to be a great big thing in the beginning. Start out small in increments, okay? Increments. Let them get a little bit bigger from each one. You accomplish one thing, then you go with another one, have just a little bit more purpose for that, then another one and another one. You will be so over surprised at how much progress you have made. Okay? So embrace intentional living. Live with purpose and intention, recognizing what truly matters to you and aligning your actions with your values. Oh my goodness. And these strategies can help you manage feelings of slighting and promote a more positive outlook on life. Oh, yes, they can. Years ago, when I was had uh, gotten interested in promoting rodeos and taking the rodeo to Denison, Texas, and I think we did it twice. And the promoter that mentored me gave me a book by Tony Robbins about self-esteem. And that taught me so much. And I have been teaching it and I have been reading and practicing it for decades. Self esteem. Self esteem. Okay? Live with a purpose. Learn. Okay? Everything doesn't have to be the same. Accomplishments are here for you, for me. Live with a purpose. Okay? So, I was saying that to say that we all have to start somewhere and to be encouraged. Somebody is encouraging you. If it's just only me, and I say just only me, but if this is the first time you're hearing this, be encouraged. And I like to quote those words from William Beckton's song, Be encouraged no matter what's going on. He, referencing God, will make it all right, but you've got to stay strong. You've got to stay strong. Each of us has a reasonable portion of strength. Build on that strength, okay? Now we're going to our second here. The best defense against hurtful slights, a solid sense of self-worth. And remember in the first one, we talked about self reflection, okay? Now, a solid sense of self-worth. And this is was released on the 28th of August in the year 2025. And this is yahoo.com lifestyle articles. All right. So let's get on into that. One word, one sentence, and suddenly all you feel is hurt. When someone says or does something that hurts you, what's the best approach for your mental health? What's the best approach for your mental health? Oh yeah, that was a question. Now let's get into it. The key takeaways in this piece here is yahoo.com, and it is lifestyle articles. So the takeaways here are: slights can be emotionally painful when they wound our sense of self worth or another trait we value highly, triggering a number of upsetting feelings. That is so true. I have been hurt, and I know you have too. I know you've been hurt. People say things. Sometimes they say them just off the top of, we say off the top of their head. They don't think about what they are going to say before they say it. And then ups, it's out and it's hurting. And they cannot take it away. So we are learning today, those of us who are learning, and I'm reiterating the things that I have learned. And from these pieces here, I am so thankful. I'm so thankful. I was sitting there, and the Lord, I always ask God to give me what I need to talk about. Something that's inspirational and something that is helpful, something that people can live throughout their lives, okay? Something that is always helpful. And he does that. And while I was sitting there, he said, Slight, have you ever felt slighted by life? And what can be done about it? The main thing was, have you ever felt slighted by life? And I know all of us have felt slighted by life. Oh, yes, every single one of us. But here are key elements that can help us along our way, okay? Key takeaways: slights can be emotionally painful when they wound our sense of self worth or another trait we value highly, triggering a number of upsetting feelings. Next, understanding and coping with perceived slights involves self reflection. You hear that? To identify what emotionally wounded you, why, and how to restore inner balance. Shifting gears is the next one by recognizing old reactions, consciously telling yourself supportive statements, and maintaining a solid sense of self worth can help prevent taking others' words and actions personally. Because, as I was saying, some people can say some mean, hateful, disrespectful things. Some don't care. They know they shouldn't say it. They say it. Some let it what's on their mind come out through their mouth and express it verbally. All kinds of things. And there are things that are on your heart and mind that carry scars right now because of some things people have said, some things that people have said. And there's one thing that has not left me. I don't dwell on it, but it comes up every now and then. And some people say every now and again, but I grew up saying every now and then. So, however you want to phrase that, there are things that come up into our memory that scarred us years ago. And some could be scarred from today, yesterday, because people say some mean, hateful things to others. And many are intended to hurt and scar. Okay? But now let's remember karma, and they say there's another word about karma, but karma, Karma, will come back and get you. And it doesn't take as long as it used to take for karma to come back. And also, hey, whatever a person does is coming back. Be not deceived, for God is not mocked. For whatever or whatsoever a man sows, that shall he also reap. And that means woman too, male and female. So we've all been there. Someone says something that hurts our feelings. Slights, real or imagined, are not insults, though, let alone personal affronts. What it is, and we want to know what it is. What is it that causes the hurt? And how can we cope with it? How can we cope with it? Slights can be emotionally painful when they wound our sense of self worth or another trait we value highly, say psychologist and psychotherapist Doris Wolf. They can simultaneously trigger a number of upsetting feelings. We then experience even natural situations as negative and offensive because, for example, our expectations were not met or a sore spot of ours was touched. It doesn't matter that most perceived slights were not intended as such, says Wolf. And that is so true because now some you can be in a certain environment, you could be around certain people or a certain person, and those offensive things, hurtful things that might have been inflicted on you by certain people and certain environments, atmospheres, or whatever, those things come back to mind. And you know what? It says, fight the negative feeling and everything, but many of these things are for protection so that we can remember. Now, not to have us to act unseemly, but to remember and be forewarned that remember, this happened and that happened. So be careful, be on your guard. All right. So, slights say something about both the slighter and the slighted, according to Stephanie Stahl, a psychologist, psychotherapist, author, and podcaster. Getting to grips with them gives you inner strength. Getting to grips with the slightedness, the slightfulness the people have inflicted on you, getting to grips with them gives you inner strength, she writes in her newsletter. Stahl recommends a two-pronged approach to better understand them and right yourself innerly, okay? Deal with yourself inside. Comfort yourself. Reassure yourself of your self worth, okay? So it starts with self reflection about what emotionally wounded you and why. You should ask yourself these questions. Here we go. Hi, thank you for being here. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Please share. Somebody needs this right now. Number one, what exactly happened? You need to weigh the situation. What exactly happened? Write down the situation, describing as specifically as possible what was said and done. Number two, what did you feel? Was it sadness? Was it anger? Was it insecurity, embarrassment? What physical sensations did you have? See, these are things to think about. And really, people say, think before you speak. And this is really good information. Really, really great information. It helps all of us through life. Number three, was it a familiar feeling? Were there ever similar situations in the past, perhaps in your childhood or youth? Was there an earlier incident that felt similarly? Number four, who was it that reacted to the perceived slight? The adult, you, or your inner child? Did your reaction spring from your current perspective or was an old wound reopened? What would your inner child have needed in this situation? These are good, aren't they? Number five, what can help now? Okay, now you're in it. You're feeling this way. Your feelings are hurt. Oh, something has come up and dug up some feeling from the past. So now, what can help? What can you do as an adult to calm down or restore your inner balance? Because some things I'm thinking about that song Stevie Wonder sings, knock me off my feet. But he didn't mean it in a negative way. He meant that he was so in love with the person that that person knocked him off his feet. And you can say, overwhelmed me. Sometimes you don't just fall physically. You understand what I'm saying? But this right here, I'm thinking about this. People can say things that will knock you off your feet, literally and emotionally. So the second prong is self healing. How can you restore your inner balance? This is what this is saying. Number five is saying, what can help now? What can you do as an adult to calm down or restore your inner balance. When you're knocked off your feet, that means you're imbalanced. You were knocked off your feet. Your balance left you. Okay? Now, the second prong is self healing, HEALING, which involves catching yourself and shifting gears. Sometimes we sense it right away. There's that old feeling again. We feel hurt, we feel ignored, misunderstood, and overreact, remarks Stahl, adding that it then pays to put on the brakes. Old feelings. Do you have old feelings that come back when certain situations happen? And they say, is it the adult or is it the inner child that has brought these things back? Which person is it? Did it happen in your childhood or did it happen during your adulthood? Whatever situation it was, wherever you were, whatever state of life you were in or stage of life you were in, where did this happen? When did it happen? Okay? It's a sign your inner child has been reawakened if, when you wonder whether you've really been insulted or the situation echoes something in your past, old reactions such as shame, anger, and powerlessness arise, she says. Oh my goodness, that is so true. Oh my goodness. You should consciously shift gears by telling yourself, stop. This is how I used to feel, but now I'm an adult. I shared something with someone, and this happened when I was a little girl. This thing still comes to my mind, but I survive. I'm a thriver. And I shared that with someone very dear to me, but it was just like in 2025 that I shared that. And this happened back in the, oh God, probably around the, maybe the early 60s, maybe. I was very young, but I won't go into it. But that comes back. That comes back. And some things you cannot keep from coming back, but they come back for a reason. They come back mostly for defense. Think about this. Think about the situation you're in now, the situation you were then. They come back to help us. I really believe that. It depends on what frame of mind you are in your the stage of life that you're in. Some come back and they will literally make you feel really, really bad about yourself. It said it brings up maybe anger, shame. It could bring up disappointment, different things like that. So stop. This is how I used to feel, but now I'm an adult. We have ways of coping, thanks be to God. The next step is to find a sentence that provides support and makes you feel good. As examples, Stahl suggests it's okay if I make mistakes. I'm still likable. Or, not all criticism is an attack. You should write this sentence down. Not all criticism is an attack. So if you're confident that you're likable, you won't take others' words and actions personally. You won't feel that they apply to you and therefore won't be hurt by them, Wolf says. You're vulnerable only if you think little of yourself. Now, I can agree with her to a point. Some things hurt however you think of yourself. You can be strong, and these things sting. at times. But she is right. She is right in a sense, in a sense. But never, never ignore your feelings, okay? Because I know that we have a built in sense of survival protection. God put that in us. And that's why things come back to our remembrance to help us, okay? A solid sense of self worth also makes it easier to forgive those who may have slighted you. Either forgive, and you can forgive, but then these things come to remembrance so we won't forget what that person said or did or whatever for our protection, okay? For our protection. This is Point of View with Miss Shirley Polk. And so I have my point of view on that. So let's go to psychology today. And this will be our last piece for today. I'm grateful, grateful, grateful that you're here. This is by Steve Taylor, PhD, Psychology Today. Slighting, the best way to respond to feeling slighted. How should we respond when people disrespect us? This is posted January the 22nd in the year 2012. Okay, let's get into it. This is still good for today. We all feel slighted when we're not given the respect that we feel we deserve. Think about how you feel when someone forgets your birthday, doesn't return your phone calls, or doesn't invite you to a party or an important meeting at work. We often like to think of ourselves as altruistic. We often like to think of ourselves as altruistic. And altruism is acting to help someone else at some cost to oneself. It can include a vast range of behaviors from sacrificing one's life to save others, to giving money, to charity or volunteering at a soup kitchen, to simply waiting a few seconds to hold the door open for a stranger. Often people behave altruistically when they see others in challenging circumstances and feel empathy and a desire to help. So that's what altruism is. So it says something we feel altruistic. Okay. So I'm going back to my psychology today, get back to where I came from. If it's going to let me go back, it has to. Get back there. So I came to the altruism. This is too important not to get back to. Okay, now let me, I'm going to have to start this again to get back to where I came from. Okay, here we go. Now, I stopped at altruistic. Okay, so we often like to think of ourselves as altruistic, willing to offer help freely, but think about how slighted you feel when you give someone a lift or cook them a meal and they leave without saying thank you. Ooh, that hurts, doesn't it? Some forms of disrespect, such as racist or sexist abuse, are heinous, and it's almost impossible for us not to feel angry and upset by them. It would be inhuman not to react by feeling hurt. And if you do experience this kind of disrespect, and the author says, I don't want to imply that the responsibility lies with you for feeling hurt rather than the perpetrator. That's it. So many times we have guilt. We're embarrassed. We blame ourselves for the situation. But it's not always us, it's the perpetrator. Okay? So the author says, I'm also not saying that we shouldn't stand up for ourselves and challenge people who disrespect or abuse us. He said, I think it's very important that we do so. I want to make it clear that in this article I am talking about minor slights, the kind of trivial incidents I have just described. He said, I want to explore how we can make ourselves less vulnerable to feeling hurt by minor slights. So he said, watch yourself closely, and you'll probably find that you experience minor slights almost every day, possibly even several times a day. So maybe a person did not make eye contact when you spoke to them, or they pushed in front of you in a queue. Perhaps you experienced rejection of some form when your report was sent back for some more work, or a friend turned down an invitation. These things, depending on the circumstances and the frame of mind, they do hurt. Okay. All right. Oh, yes. Psychologists call slights narcissistic injuries. You hear that? Psychologists call slights narcissistic narcissistic injuries. They bruise our egos and make us feel belittled. Ultimately, all types of slights boil down to the same basic feeling: being devalued or disrespected. That is so true. Although many slights are fairly trivial, they can have dangerous consequences. They can play on our minds for days, opening up psychic wounds that are difficult to heal. We can replay the situation over and over again until the hurt and humiliation eat away at us inside. This usually leads to an impulse to fight back, to avenge the damage to our self esteem. Oh, yes. Thoughts come up, like I said, anger, embarrassment, uh, guilt. All kinds of things go through our minds. All the kinds of things go through our minds. This could mean slighting the person back. She didn't invite me to her party, so I'm not sending her a birthday card. Or he didn't thank me, so I'm going to ignore him from now on. A grudge may develop. You end up looking the other way when you pass the person on the street, or making mean comments behind their back. There's so many things that can happen that we might do feeling angry, but that is taking us back to our self-worth, our self-control. Okay? And if the person reacts to your resentment, it could end up in a full-scale feud. A good friendship could dissolve into acrimony, or a close family could needlessly fall apart. There are so many possibilities. So many possibilities. Even more dangerously, especially with young men, slights can trigger a violent reaction. Criminologists have noted that many acts of violence stem from a sense of slight. The psychologists Martin Daly and Margot Wilson estimated that two-thirds of all murders were the result of men feeling they had been disrespected and acting to save face. See, it's good for us to weigh the situation, give the people the benefit of a doubt. But if this harm is headed your way, you get out of the way. You can give it a benefit of a doubt in another place, okay? But make sure you get yourself out of harm's way, all right? Now, I believe in that. Oh, yes. And I believe That you, if you're in danger, you do everything you can to keep from being the victim on the news or anywhere else. They get you in a corner, whatever you have to do to get out of that corner, I believe you should do it. Okay, I'm not advocating unnecessary violence, but I'm advocating survival and thriving. Okay, our vulnerability to minor slights seems to point to a fundamental insecurity inside us. The ego, our sense of self. The ego is our sense of self and is often fragile and easy to damage. Many of us feel a basic sense of separateness and incompleteness, which means that we're prone to feelings of insignificance. As a result, the ego needs to be continually boosted by affirmation. We need to be shown that we're important. A slight can be a terrible blow because it uncovers that latent sense of insignificance. Insignificance. And I did um, a show on being an afterthought, being an afterthought, because many people are afterthoughts. If the one that they prefer is not available, then they will take the one that's available, which is the afterthought. Okay. The French psychologist Jacques Lacan, excuse me, put forward a similar explanation of aggression. He pointed out that most acts of aggression are the result of a threat to identity. As children, we're a collection of different desires and different biological processes that we don't have any control over. But as we become adults, we have to bring all these processes into a unity to develop a coherent identity. When people offend or insult us, it makes us feel fragmented again, and we react by striking out as a way of reasserting our power and identity. So, what can we do to make ourselves less vulnerable to minor slights? What can we do? Oh my goodness, this is so good. Personal development coach Ken Case points out that the first step is simply to accept that we feel hurt. Accept that you feel hurt. That's the first step, okay? The first step to making ourselves feel less vulnerable to minor slights. It sounds easy, but it's much easier for the mind to start obsessing about how evil the person who offended us is. Acknowledging the hurt stops us ruminating, which is the worst thing you can do. The worst thing, according to this, is ruminating. The worst thing you can do. And let's look at this ruminating, okay? Let's look at it. To ruminate means to think deeply about something. To think deeply about something. That's ruminating. Okay? So, acknowledging the hurt stops us ruminating, thinking deeply about it, which is the worst thing you can do. It just allows the slight to grow out of all proportion. Ooh, when you ruminate and you think deeply about it, the hurt, the abuse that's happened. Keys is Keis, and I'm pronouncing it Keys. So if I'm mispronouncing this, please excuse me. Okay? Keys emphasizes the importance of what he terms calling space. Okay? What he terms calling space. Before you react to a slight, think about the consequences. Think about it, okay? Remember that nothing good ever comes from being easily offended. If you are, you'll lose your credibility. People want to work with you or even spend time with you. The likelihood is that you feel slighted because you're expecting a certain type of behavior and not getting it. So perhaps if it's your expectations which need to change, okay? Perhaps it's your expectations that need to change. Ooh, this is good. Similarly, the counselor and psychologist Dr. Elliot Cohen points out that slights often stem from a misreading of a situation. If someone ignores you and you feel offended, it could just be that you're personalizing the situation. And that could be for real. It could be that. Because when you think about it and you look back, if you haven't acted out, when you think about it and reason within yourself, you could come to the conclusion that that wasn't personal. I don't believe that was personal. You'll be glad you did not react suddenly in a negative way. And if you're not sure if it was personal or not, hey, just remove yourself from that environment, that place. If you're standing with someone and they say something that you feel is offensive or that has slighted you, excuse yourself. Excuse yourself. And you can do it in a dignified way, in a wise way. Just excuse yourself. So it helps to take the perspective of the person you think slighted you. Perhaps they were just in a rush or didn't even see you. Maybe they were just being a little thoughtless or forgetful. And even if someone is genuinely rude or disrespectful to you, there could be reasons for that. Perhaps they're jealous of you or feel threatened. We have to weigh the situation. And many times that part right there, like they say, that part, you know, many times perhaps they're jealous of you or feel threatened. Although it may not seem to be closely related, the practice of meditation can help too. Regular meditation can make us less affected by negative thoughts and create a more grounded and stable sense of self so that we're less dependent on respect and affirmation from other people. Don't I talk about this? If you go back to my webcasts, and you can find all of them on YouTube, all that I have left public, you can find them. You'll see that I talk about us not wanting other people to give us our worth or to depend on other people to validate us. This comes up so often in my webcasts. We need a certain part of validation, but we don't need people to show us or tell us of our worth or our worthlessness, if you want to put it like that, okay? we must think of ourselves as God's creation, being wise, beautiful, intelligent, being all of that. That's what you are. And you have to recognize that and acknowledge that for yourself. Okay? So I want to go back just a little bit. Regular meditation, talking about meditation, can make us less affected by negative thoughts and create a more grounded and stable sense of self so that we're less dependent on respect and affirmation from other people. And remember, in the first article itself, it told us to fight negative thoughts, okay? Fight those negative thoughts. And so the author is saying here, let me reiterate that I'm not saying that we should be completely invulnerable to feeling disrespected. Right. He's saying we should not be completely invulnerable to feeling disrespected. For many people, particularly members of ethnic minorities, disrespect is a part of their everyday experience as a result of embedded prejudice and social conditions. Embedded prejudice, okay? It would be totally unrealistic to be immune to such disrespect and completely wrong for a person to think it was their own fault if they felt hurt. Didn't I just say that just a few minutes ago? But when it comes to minor slights, which often have damaging consequences, it's very helpful to develop some degree of inner resilience. And you know, I talk about resilience. I talk about how we are resilient people. Yes, we are. We are so resilient. Oh my goodness. And what is resilience? Let me go there. Resilience. Resilience is the psychological quality that allows some people to be knocked down by the adversities of life and come back at least as strong as before, rather than letting difficulties, traumatic events, or failure overcome them and drain their resolve. Highly resilient people find a way to change course, emotionally heal, and continue moving toward their goals. That's what resilience is. Oh my goodness, that is so good. Resilience. Hallelujah. I am so thankful. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I am so glad talking about this is Steve Taylor, PhD. He's really giving us some good pointers here today. What we need. Oh yes, what we need. Resilience. Have I gone too far on this? Okay, here I go. I'm almost back there to my resilience. So many times we go over words or we say words, but we don't spend time on them. And I like to spend time on them. I really do. So let me get back to my word resilience. And then we will move on. We talked about prejudice. Okay, perhaps then, if we stop expending so much energy on trivial issues, we can focus our attention on more important concerns. Oh, yes. And that's it. And right on time, we have 4 minutes. How about that? So, Steve Taylor is a senior lecturer in psychology at Leeds Beckett University in the UK, in the United Kingdom, okay? So this article is adapted from the book, and the book is Back to Sanity, okay? And Stephen M. Taylor.com. StephenMTaylor.com. And like I said, I think this article was in 2012. Let me go back and make sure. But I'm sure you can still find this. This is still on Psychology Today. And if you go to Psychology Today in any of these, no. Okay, Abigail. Yes, this is January 22nd, 2012. And this is reviewed by Abigail Fagan. I love you so much, and I thank you for being here with me today. And tomorrow, maybe tomorrow, uh, but it's to be announced, okay? I will be interviewing Evangelist Glenda Williams Goodson and Bishop Elijah Hankerson III because the Center for African American Church History and Research, which is founded by Evangelist Glenda Williams Goodson, will be hosting its 17th conference on the 28th of February this year, this month, at the Ideal Pentecostal Church, which is pastored by Bishop Ray Campbell here in Dallas, Texas. And we will begin at 8 a.m. Okay. And for information, you can find the poster on my page. You can find the poster on Glenda Goodson's page. And if you would like to come, just go to that poster. You can contact me. You can contact Glenda and get all the information you need that's available for you to attend. Okay. I thank you so much. So I will announce when the interview with Evangelist Goodson, Glenda Williams Goodson, and Bishop Elijah Hankerson III will be live. Thank you so much. And don't forget my music. Don't forget my 4-part series, Ain't No Love. It is really something, I'm telling you. You can go to Spotify, and I uploaded it to YouTube also. Ain't No Love is the name of it. It's a 4-part series. Okay. Then my music is out here. Then I have not finished my book, The Steps of a Good Man, which is about my husband who transitioned into eternity, crossed that eternal threshold on January 15th, 2007. So this is the first book, a part of a series of books, God willing. And really pray with me that I get the book done before the end of March. I love you so much. This is a reminder. Let me hear from you. Okay? Webcast. You're wonderful. Thank you. This is a reminder.